I'll turn Thunder Jackson off. Gosh, I don't know what I was thinking. My nephew's music was playing there. Hey, what's going on? Let's talk India. Let's talk India. Let's talk some mythology here. We are in 6, right? So I sent an email today. Quiz 5 is available. If you scroll down here, it's right here. It's open until this coming Saturday by midnight. So I changed it a little bit. Well, quite a bit actually. Now it only covers the myths from this week. Next week, Quiz 5 will likely only cover the myths from next week, which is China and Japan, which means that for Central America and North American myths, where we finish, we likely won't have a quiz on those, but they will show up on the final exam. About the final exam, real quick. It won't be the same format as the quizzes so far. I'm going to give you a little bit of a break because I am asking you to write a paper or a creative project. The final exam is all matching. It's just all matching. It does cover every myth that we've talked about this semester, though. So you will need to be familiar. You'll need to study. You'll need to remember, what happened in the Enuma Elish and Egyptian mythology and so forth. But it's all matching. So hopefully it'll be a little bit easier for you to take. All right, there's a lot going on in this picture here, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there in just a minute. Okay, so who is old enough to remember Dharma and Greg? I'm sorry if you do. I was never really much of a fan of that show, but it has the word Dharma in it, so I stuck it in here. You might know My Name is Earl. Oh, what's his name? Jason Lee. Jason Lee plays Earl Hickey, trying to fix his karma. He did a lot of bad stuff in his life. He's trying to make it right. My Name is Earl. Anyway, so we're in India this week. Here's their flag. Here's their country. It's the second largest population. It's very, very, very many people. 7th largest by area, and it was ruled by Britain until 1947. Pretty recently, actually, that Britain claimed it as a colony. Here's some interesting pictures here. We have lots of arms, lots of hands. Look at that. I tell you, I look forward to this week. Every semester I do this because it's just, look at the colors. Look how bright and bold these are. These are fantastic. All right. So we read 2 myths this week. The first one was the creation, death, and rebirth of the universe. Which, again, that title has been used a few times. Like in Africa, we had the creation of the universe in Ife. We had the origin of life and fire. In Norse mythology, I think, what was that called? The creation of the universe and human beings, I think is what it was called. So, yeah, very similar names there. But this is the creation, death, and rebirth of the universe. And the primary focus here is the Trimurti, or the 3-part God. This is essentially different faces of the same thing, right? I like to talk about it. I like to bring in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, because I think that's just a little more recognizable to our Western backgrounds. Christianity doesn't think of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit as completely separate things. They're all different shades, different facets, right? Different sides of the same being. And the Trimurti is the same situation here. It is made up of 3 aspects, 3 characters, or 3 aspects. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the preserver, and Shiva is the destroyer. And that might be interesting if you think about, well, why is destruction there? Why do we need a god for destruction? Isn't that a bad thing? Well, not necessarily. Destruction is, the end of life is a necessary stage of life. If life begins, then it must end at some point. So that's Shiva's responsibility. It's not an act of destruction, or it's not an act of evil. It's just a natural part of the process. This image here, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but this is Brahma sitting in his lotus petal. This is Shiva with his trident and his snake. Where is his snake? Yeah, it's around his neck right there. And this is Vishnu in the middle. And then we have this symbol here. Do we know what this symbol means? That is the symbol Om, O-M, Om. It is said that the sound of creation, when Brahma was remaking the universe, Om is the sound that was produced. The sound of creation there. This is Vishnu here. Blue skin indicating infinite sky or just divinity, right? The world above. He's the protector of life. Lakshmi is his companion in heaven. She comes down with him in the Ramayana. He has 4 arms, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And he's often depicted as holding meaningful objects. Here we see the discus as the nature of life, the cyclical, like the death and birth and preservation. The conch is for creative voice. Mace is for protection. Om. Where's the Om? He's not holding an Om here. But he has had many avatars, right? In the Ramayana, he comes back as Rama, the warrior, but he's come back as different things over the ages. As a fish, as a tortoise, as a boar, as a dwarf, as a warrior with an axe, as a teacher. Even the Buddha himself, there are some parts of the religion who consider the Buddha, Siddhartha, gosh, what is wrong with me? Siddhartha as being an avatar of Vishnu himself. You can imagine that creates a bit of friction between the Buddhists and the Hindus. Anyway, Brahma is the creative aspect of the Trimurti. He creates the universe. He's born from a lotus flower. And every living thing, just like Bumba, every living thing emerges from him, her. I say him, her because he's genderless, right? He's androgynous. He has no distinct, dedicated gender. He creates animals from the body, plants from the hair, gods from the face, demons from the butt. So he defecates, right? He poops out the demons. Humans are from his thought, so on and so forth. So here, he's also holding a lotus petal, an urn of some kind. But he's usually depicted as sitting in the lotus flower here. And then finally, Shiva. So at the end of the Kali Yuga, we'll talk about in a minute, he wakes and he destroys the universe. He intensifies the sunlight so much that it just burns up everything. He's usually holding a trident, which is this 3-pronged spear here. The Ganges River flows from his head. So we can see the Ganges here on the map. That is thought to flow from his head. And he's had many companions over the years, Devi and Shakti and Parvati and Kali. We'll talk about a couple of those coming up. Lakshmi is Vishnu's companion, Vishnu's consort in heaven. She is such a devoted wife that she follows him when he is reincarnated on earth. And even so, as Rama, she volunteers to accompany him when he's banished from his home. She is. You pray to her if you're trying to do something successful, right? She's considered to be. She's called the remover of obstacles, along with Ganesh. So if you buy a new house, if you take a new job, if you're having a baby, then you would ask for a blessing from Lakshmi. Parvati is one of the wives of Shiva. We can see here with Ganesh, her son. Usually, do I have a slide about Ganesh? I do. Okay. So this is Ganesh. He's a big popular character in Hindu mythology. And again, I say mythology not as that's not true. I say mythology as meaningful, sacred texts to a religion. That's what I mean by that. Ganesh was created by Parvati from turmeric. So the story behind that is that Shiva had a lot of followers and a lot of devotees, and Parvati didn't have any. So she made her own. She got some spiced turmeric, and she created Ganesh from it. And then one day, Parvati went in to take a bath, and she told Ganesh, "Hey, I don't want to be disturbed. Don't let anybody in here. Guard the door." And Ganesh said, "Okay." He had a normal human head at this point. He was created with a normal human head. So Shiva comes in, and Shiva says, "Hey, where's my wife?" And Ganesh says, "She's taking a bath." And Shiva says, "I would like to go in." And Ganesh says, "Nuh-uh, you can't." Because he is loyal to Parvati, because she created him. And Shiva doesn't take rejection well, so he cut off Ganesh's head. Once Parvati learned what had happened, she sent out a servant to find the first animal that they could find. They brought back an elephant, and she replaced Ganesh's head with that of an elephant, reviving him, and that's why his head looks like it does today. One question here, up in these corners, what is this? Why do I have swastikas on this picture? Isn't that a bad thing? Yes, swastikas are a bad thing, but these are not swastikas. This is a very ancient symbol for divinity, for heaven, for holiness. If you look at traffic maps in Japan or China, even today, this symbol is used to denote where the temples are. What the Nazis did was they took this symbol, they found it and they said, "Hey, that looks cool, we're going to use that," and they flipped it. They flipped it around the other way, so it's backwards for a swastika. This is the good symbol, backwards is the bad one. So that's why it's up there. So these sort of Hindu beliefs, I think, are important for understanding this myth, for the Ramayana. Karma is the punishment and or reward for behavior. Basically, what you do comes around. So if you're nice to people, then you will be rewarded. If you're evil to people, then you'll reap that as well. Moksha is the state of enlightenment. So after all of your karma has been fully resolved, after you have eliminated all bad karma, then you achieve the state of moksha, which is a release from the human condition. Essentially, you ascend, not nirvana, but you are released from samsara. You are no longer bound to the cycle of death and rebirth, right, of suffering. You are released from that. That's the goal. That's the end goal for everyone to get to. And then dharma is one's proper place in life. Dharma is kind of a complicated thing to describe. If we're talking about Buddhism, dharma is a very easy thing because it's just the compilation of all of the Buddha's teaching. The dharma here it's more complicated. It is your one true path in life. What you're supposed to do, where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to say, who you're supposed to be. The problem is nobody tells you what your dharma is. You're just supposed to follow the path that life sets out for you. And wrapped up in that, included in that, are social codes. So a son or a daughter following their dharma would be obedient to their parents and respectful and help around the house and things like that. And Rama is considered to be one of the greatest Hindu heroes because he always follows his dharma. Of course he does. He's Vishnu. But he always knows where he's supposed to be and what he's supposed to be doing. So, okay. All right. Yeah, okay. Let's skip that one. Okay, so in the myth, creation, death, and rebirth of the universe, it talks about the Mahayuga, or the Great Age. This is the idea, one of the creation motifs that we've talked about before. We had dismemberment, we had speaking into being, we had the merging, the melding of elements, right? And one of them was this recycling of the world. This is that creation motif where the world is created and it goes through a phase and then it's snuffed out, basically. It dies and then it comes back again, goes through a different phase, and this happens several times. So this is the Mahayuga. This is what's happening here. So the first generation of the Krita Yuga, it lasts a very long time, over 1 million years. And during this, humans live wonderful lives. They don't need shelter. They have all the food they want, all the clothing they want, all the happiness they want. And humans are devoted to meditation during that age. One of the Greek myths that we didn't read is Ages of Man, and it describes something very similar to this. The second generation, after Shiva arises and destroys all existence and Brahma comes in to recreate it, we have the second, or Treta Yuga. Here, virtual and moral perfection have decreased by a fourth. It lasts a bit shorter. And now humans can be a bit greedy and take advantage of their resources. We have weather, so humans need shelter, where they didn't before. And humans now are devoted to knowledge instead of meditation. And next, we go through the third generation, or the Dvapara Yuga. I probably just butchered that. Dvapara, that's right, Dvapara. Now virtue and moral perfection have declined by 1/2. It lasts less than 1,000,000 years, and we have some of the bad parts of life. We have disease, we have misfortune, we have death, we have war. And now humans are devoted to sacrifice. And then finally, the last age is the Kali Yuga, or the War Yuga. It lasts only 400,000 years. Humans are valued by societal rank and wealth rather than by moral virtue. The only remaining pleasure is sex, and only the poor are honest. So everyone is just a scumbag, basically, by this point. Wait a minute. Is there a spaceship? Is that a spaceship? What is that? It looks like a spaceship to me. See this thing up here? I think that's a spaceship. That's not supposed to be there. It's probably not a spaceship. I'm just an ignorant man. I'm an ignorant Western white man. I don't know what that is. Destruction and rebirth. At the end of 1,000 Mahayugas, Vishnu will take the form of Shiva and destroy all life on earth. So when that says Vishnu will take the form of Shiva, remember, even though we're talking about Shiva and Brahma and Vishnu as different aspects, different people, essentially, they're all the same God, all the same consciousness. Here we have a flood. Listen to this. Listen to this. Day and night for 100 years, a deluge of rain will pour forth until everything in the world has been buried beneath the deep waters of a devastating flood. It's back. It's happening again. I told you, it happens so many times. What does that mean? What does that mean? Does it mean that the actual Christian biblical flood actually happened? Maybe. Does it mean that many different floods happened in different parts of the world? Maybe. You have to think about, early humans. It's much, much easier to live along water than it is not. And so floods may have been a regular occurrence for a lot of people. Does it mean that there was some massive global flood that happened in our history and different religions and different cultures have just used different explanations for that? Maybe. I don't know. All I know is it keeps showing up in these different religions, different myths, different cultures across time that had no contact with each other whatsoever. That's fascinating to me. After 1,000 Mahayugas, Vishnu will wake and Brahma will emerge from his navel. Okay, listen. Gods don't always make sense. So here we have Brahma being born from his own navel. Don't think about it too much. You will hurt yourself. It'll be inside an egg, right? So after Shiva destroys all of life and all existence, the only thing left will be this golden egg, this cosmic egg. And inside the egg is Brahma. And he'll set about recreating everything again. Okay? That was the first myth that we talked about. Now, let's get into the interesting one, the good one. I won't say the good one. The longer one, the more substantial one. That's good. So a little bit of background here. This was composed by a monk named Valmiki sometime between 200 and 200. There he is, an artist representation of him. Some prominent characters that we have. Rama is the earthly form of Vishnu. So Vishnu is reincarnated as Rama and 3 of his brothers. He's the ideal king, a strong warrior, and always follows his dharma. We have Sita, who is the earthly form of Lakshmi. And once Rama and Sita meet each other and get married, then she is a forever devoted wife. She always follows him and helps him out. The Rakshasas are demons who cannot be killed by the gods, but can be killed by humans and animals. One interesting thing there. Kipling. Rudyard Kipling. What did Rudyard Kipling write? The most famous thing that Rudyard Kipling wrote? Do we know? Do we have any Kipling fans? Rudyard Kipling wrote The Jungle Book. Do you know the name of the she-wolf who raised Mowgli? Do we know the name of the she-wolf who raised Mowgli? It means demon. It translates to demon. And her name was Raksha. What does that mean? It means demon. Look at this. Rakshasas. There you go. I don't know why. I just think that's really interesting. I think that's cool. That her name means demon, and it comes from just a Hindu word for demon. If you didn't know, Rudyard Kipling spent many years in India, so he was quite a big fan of that country. All right. So let's talk about the myth itself specifically. Now, I'll get back to that. One more thing about the gods here. You may ask, well, what does that mean that demons can't be killed by the gods? They're gods. They can do whatever they want. Not necessarily here. Not the Hindu gods. From the background here, it says the gods in the Ramayana are immortal and powerful, but they are not omnipotent. They can't do anything they want. The problem here, what happened was, well, do I have a question about this? Maybe I do. Okay, so here we have Rama and Sita in their courtship. See, he's blue. I don't know why people don't notice he's blue. They should look at him and say, hey, that dude's got blue skin. Maybe he's not a normal guy. But, you know, whatever. Okay. Well, okay. All right, that's fine. We'll talk more about this a little bit later, but I'm going to read you this really short part about the background here. This is very important to understand about ancient Hindu and the role of the female. To the ancient Hindus, a woman should not think of herself or function as an independent human being. Thus, in terms of her own tradition, Sita is one of the greatest females in literature. She represents the highest ideal of female love, devotion, and faithfulness, and Hindu society has loved her throughout the ages. So, what does she do in chapter 1 only for right now? What does she do in chapter 1 that portrays her, that leads us to understand that she is, from an ancient Hindu perspective, the greatest female character in literature? She follows Vishnu. She follows him as he is reincarnated. Vishnu is reincarnated in order to deal with Ravana, right? I actually don't have a question about this, so let's talk about it real quick. So the gods, Ravana is a demon king. He's a real bad guy. And he asked the gods, Brahma specifically, to help him out. This is Brahma here. Brahma says, "It is true that Ravana asked me for protection from his own people and from every creature who lives above and below the earth, and then I gave him that gift. However, he very foolishly did not ask for protection from either humans or animals because he saw no threat from them." So what happens is, Brahma gives Ravana protection from the gods. And Ravana says, hey, thanks, now I'm going to be a dick. And he starts and he starts tearing stuff up and he starts taking things and murdering people, and the gods can't stop him. The gods can't do anything because he's protected from them. But what he didn't do was ask for protection from humans and animals. And so what the gods get together and they say, we've got to do something about Ravana. He's just causing us a lot of trouble. And the solution they have is for Vishnu to reincarnate himself, to come down to earth as a human and deal with Ravana himself, which shouldn't be a problem because even as a human, he's still Vishnu, right? He's still the dude. So, when Vishnu is reincarnated, he is reincarnated as 4 people, 4 brothers. And the reason for that, well, the myth doesn't specifically say this, but the reason for that, I believe, is that he's a god. He is not only a god, he is the god. He's part of the Trimurti. And that much spirit probably won't fit in our dumb little meatbag bodies. So he has to split himself. He has to distribute himself among 4 brothers. And those brothers are, do we remember? Rama and Lakshmana and Satrugna and Bharata. Those 4. Rama, Lakshmana, Satrugna, and Bharata. Don't get Lakshmana and Lakshmi confused. Lakshmana is his friend and brother, who he also reincarnated as. Okay. Here they are right there. Here's Rama with his bow and blue skin. This is Lakshmana, his brother and friend. Alright. So, Rama comes down, and we get a little bit of like a social drama here. Some familial drama. Let's see here. Yep, here we go. So what happens is Bharata's mother's nursemaid, Bharata's mother's helper, starts talking to Bharata's mother. Remember, Bharata is Rama's brother, also Vishnu, but Rama's brother for all intents and purposes. And Bharata's mother's nursemaid starts saying, hey, it's not really fair that Rama is going to inherit the kingdom here and all the power and everything. That's not fair, is it? What about your son? What about Bharata? Why doesn't he get it? Well, he's a nice-looking fellow. He has a good, strong back. I'm sure he would be a nice leader. And Bharata's mother says, you know what? I think you have a good point there. I like this. I like this. And so she goes to King Dasaratha. King Dasaratha is the father of these brothers, right? He's the king of this kingdom, the father of the brothers that Vishnu is reincarnated into. She goes to King Dasaratha and she says, Yep. Here we go. He says, years ago when the Rakshasas sorely wounded you, I cared for you and saved your life. This is Bharata's mother talking to King Dasaratha right now. In gratitude, you granted me 2 rewards. I did not ask for them then, but I do now. If you will not honor them, I will die. First, let Bharata be crowned king in place of Rama. Second, make Rama live as a hermit in the wild forest lands for 14 years. So she wanted Rama gone so there wouldn't be any conflict. There wouldn't be any problem with Bharata becoming king. And King Dasaratha says, you know what? You did save my life all those years ago, and I do owe you, so fine. Your little snot-nosed guy can be king, and I'll kick out my favorite son. Now, when Rama hears of this, what is his mood? How does he take it? Rama replies, he's talking to Lakshmana here, I have no wish to rule our father's kingdom under these circumstances. Other men in our family have had difficult tasks placed before them. Surely this time in the forest is part of my destiny. Destiny, it rhymes with, it starts with the same same letter as Dharma. I will live my life with honor, obeying my father as a good son is expected to do. That is the way of Dharma. He understands that this is all part of the process. That if he stayed here and became king, then he wouldn't confront Ravana, and he wouldn't do what he came down here to do. He has to follow his Dharma. This is what life wants of him at this point. Lakshmana tries to convince him to fight for his royal rights, but he refuses. I'll skip that. This is a good little quote here about following your Dharma, about not resisting, right? Not resisting what life gives you. Gratitude is not an excuse for being passive in the face of personal or societal need or injustice. You are not excused from working to become a caring person, creating a better life for your loved ones, or protecting the innocent. Acknowledging the great gift of a human life through gratitude is just the opposite. It is a call to action to be a caring human being while acknowledging the folly of basing your happiness on the outcome of your actions. Basically, you can't create happiness, right? You just need to follow your life. You need to be a good person, and happiness will find you along the way. That's what Rama is doing here. While searching for Rama, Bharata... Okay. So Rama goes into exile. And Lakshmana and Sita go with him, right? Before this time, before he was banished, he met Sita, who is Lakshmi, the goddess Lakshmi, his wife, who is reincarnated as Sita the human. Rama meets Sita and woos her and courts her and wins her hand in marriage from her father by pulling a giant bow that no one should have the strength to do. We can see that here in this picture. That's the bow that no one should have been strong enough to draw, but he was, because he is Rama. So he finds Rama, they fall in love and get married, because of course they do. And when Rama leaves the kingdom, when he goes out into the forest, Lakshmana, his brother, and Sita come with him. Eventually, Bharata realizes that Rama kind of got a bum deal here, right? It was not fair what happened to Rama. And Bharata goes to find Rama and try to convince him to come back. So Bharata goes out looking for Rama. And along the way, he finds a wise man. And the wise man says this about Dharma. I think this is pretty important here. This is the wise man talking to Bharata. Each man's destiny takes him along strange and unforeseen paths. Do not blame your mother for Rama's banishment. His exile is destined to benefit both humans and gods alike. Be patient and remain true to Dharma. Rama is out there for a reason. He has a greater purpose. And if you go out there and you try to bring him back, you're going to screw it up. Don't screw this up. Don't mess with this. This is beyond you. This is not your business. Go take care of your own business, basically. Skip that. Okay. There's a few more gods here. I'm going to skip a couple of these. Indra, we don't need to know. Surya, we don't need to know. Durga. Nah. Kali. Okay. So Kali is important. Kali's mother was Durga, right? Another wife of Shiva. She's not evil. She looks pretty terrifying here. But she is the slayer of bad thoughts and bad intentions and bad desires and things of that nature. You can see she's pretty... It looks like she really enjoys her work. Interesting story about this picture here. Who is she standing on? That's Shiva. She's standing on top of Shiva. Well, that's strange. Why is she standing... Shiva's a pretty important guy. Why is she standing on him? What had happened was she was going about her business, killing and slaying and murdering and having a whole lot of fun. And got a little bit carried away with it. And she got so carried away that she started to dance very intensely. She was dancing so hard and so enthusiastically that it was threatening to even shake the whole world apart. And so what Shiva did, Shiva saw this and came down and placed himself beneath her feet so that she wouldn't damage the world beneath her. So that's what he's doing there. He's protecting the world from her enthusiasm. Sarasvati, I think Sarasvati is important. Well, I wanted to include her here because she's a muse, right? We know the muses. We talked about the muses of Apollo in Greek mythology. Sarasvati is the same thing. She's a muse of wisdom and music and arts. So a lot of these gods have animals associated with them. Hers is the white swan here, but anyway. New characters. So new characters in this part of the myth. Hanuman is the monkey man. He's a devoted helper of Rama. He can change his size. He can be very, very big or very, very small. He's very strong. He can lift whole mountains. So you can see in the picture, he's holding up an entire mountain. Has a very long leap. This is a picture of Son Goku from Chinese mythology, the Monkey King from Chinese myth, which bears a lot of similarities with Hanuman here. One idea for a research paper, maybe. You could look into. So Ravana. So, hang on. Where is... Okay, so we'll get back to the chapters here in a second. When Ravana abducts, when he kidnaps Sita, he takes her to his fortress. And where is his fortress? All the way down here in Sri Lanka. There is research, there is archaeology, there is study, that historical study that says that one aspect of this myth, one part of this myth, being that he took her to Sri Lanka, is that the people of the time, around the time this myth was written, the people on the mainland of India didn't have a very good opinion of people on Sri Lanka. They looked at them as, you know, as the other, right? As savage, as violent, as uncivilized. And so that may be a reason that may factor into why Ravana's fortress, the demon's fortress, is on Sri Lanka in this myth. But that's where it is, way down at that bottom. This is Ravana here. He has 10 heads. Look at all those heads. He has 9 in this picture, but he has 10 heads. He, Shatrugna and Vibhishana. Yeah, so he has a couple demon brothers. We'll talk about it a little bit later. He does kidnap Sita. He tries to seduce her, but it doesn't work. And no one can defeat him. He is completely beyond anyone's capabilities until Rama comes along, and then Rama makes quick work of him. This is Hanuman here. Okay. So, first of all, Ravana tries to capture Sita by force. He sends an army, and Rama just slaughters all of them, just with no effort. And so then he decides to try to capture Sita through trickery. What does he do? What does he do here? So Maricha, Ravana's assistant and counselor, devised a plan to capture Sita by deceptive means. He transformed himself into a beautiful golden and silver deer with antlers of sapphire and skin as soft as the petals of a flower. He wandered in the forest near Rama's house until Sita noticed him. Sita says, "Please, Rama, follow that deer and capture it for me. I long to have it for my companion, or if you must kill it, I will cherish its shining hide as a golden and silver carpet." Now, there's a couple interesting things about this part of the myth that I want to point out. Lakshmana is a very smart person, and Lakshmana acts as the voice of reason here. Lakshmana says, "Beware, Rama. No real deer possesses such beauty. This creature must be a Rakshasa in disguise. Their ability to change their shape makes them a treacherous foe. Remember how quick they were to slaughter the unwary victims." So, and then Rama says, "You silly... No, what are you talking about? Listen, let me tell you something. Let me mansplain here. Let me Godsplain to you here. If this is Rama talking back to Lakshmana. If this creature is really a Rakshasa, then I feel obligated to kill it before it threatens us. Guard Sita in my absence. I will not be gone long, and I will bring Sita that star-studded deerskin." So he goes after the deer. While he's gone, something happens. Maricha led Rama on a long, tiresome chase through the deep forest. Rama finally caught up, and as Maricha lay dying, he resumed his own shape and made one last attempt to help Ravana. He disguised his voice as Rama's and called out, "Lakshmana, help me! I am dying helpless in this forest." Rama heard these words and, okay, "Lakshmana," Sita asked. So now Sita hears his words as well. "Lakshmana, did you hear Rama's cry? You must go right now and help him. What a fool was I to send my dear lord after that deer." And again, Lakshmana says, "Really? What? Are you that dense? Are we falling for this? Is it that easy?" So Lakshmana says, "It must be some clever Rakshasa trick. No one in heaven or earth or the netherworld can conquer Rama. Besides, I gave my word that I will guard you from all danger." And so, obviously, like, we know who Rama is. You really think that a deer is going to get him, to best him? No, that's ridiculous. And Sita says, yeah, but do it though. And Lakshmana says, fine. I'll go see what it is. As soon as he leaves, Ravana shows up and kidnaps Sita. Yeah. Okay, do I need to... No, well... Well. I'm trying... Yeah, I guess it's... Okay. Alright. So everyone sees, so Ravana abducts Sita, he takes her away, and everyone sees this and they're very upset, and they say, oh, I'm mourning, oh, poor Sita, I feel so bad for her. The only person or thing who doesn't mourn is Brahma. And why doesn't Brahma mourn for Sita? Because he knows that this will lead Rama to where he's supposed to be. The whole reason Rama is on Earth in the first place is to kill Ravana. And now Rama has a very good reason to go and do that. So Rama is excited. Hanuman has a blessing, right? I told you that he can change his shape. He's very strong. But he has one particular blessing that was given by Brahma. And that is to choose his own death. He can choose when he dies. That's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty great. So he doesn't have to worry. He doesn't have to be afraid in battle. He can go off and fight as long as he wants, and he'll never die until he wants to. Skip that one. Here is Hanuman punching a mountain. I don't know why he's punching a mountain. Okay. So, here we have a different... Listen, brothers, in this myth, brothers act as the voice of reason. Brothers are always right. Always listen to your brothers. So, Ravana's army is there at his fortress. So he's taken Sita to Sri Lanka, to his fortress, and he's holding her there. And Ravana's brothers say to him, maybe you made a mistake. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea to abduct Sita. Kumbhakarna, one of his brothers, says, stealing Sita was a foolish thing to do. I will continue to support you, but I don't think this is a good idea. Vibhishana, Ravana's youngest brother, was more critical. Ravana, who can fight a war against Rama and win? Rama has a righteous cause behind him. He is divine. And you are the offender. I would advise you to return Sita to Rama and cleanse yourself of your foul deed. Then we can avoid the war that would surely destroy us. And Rama says, what? I'm Ravana. I'm the Demon King. Ain't nobody can hurt me. I'm not worried at all. I got this. I got this. What? What is he going to do? What's he going to do? He ain't nothing. He's going to do nothing. That's what he's going to do. Well, he does something. There is the two sides go into battle. Skip that one. Here is an image of Ravana being shot by Rama. You know, and I can't really show videos here, but I found this live action adaptation of this battle on YouTube, and it looks like it's from the 70s or something, but it was made in India, and my God, it is at the same time the most horrible and the most glorious piece of film I have ever seen. I'll say if you have epilepsy, don't watch it because it's like flashing colors and just like the worst effects you can. It's worse than the bad effects you're thinking of. I guarantee. I promise. I'll put a link to it on Moodle so you can watch it. But good Lord, it's just precious. It's awesome. Skip that one. So, Ravana has a lot of heads. With Indra's mighty arrows, Rama sliced off Ravana's 10 heads one by one, but each time he severed a head, another one grew in its place. So, that reminded me of Greek mythology, right? In Heracles, when Heracles or Hercules goes to fight the Hydra, that's one of the problems, that the heads grow back. There's lots of heads and they grow back. That's what it reminded me of. At the end, I thought it was interesting that Ravana received a hero's funeral. After giving Ravana a hero's funeral, and I was wondering why. So this is what Rama says about that. Ravana was one of Earth's great warriors and heroes. Even Indra, king of the gods, could not stand against him. Such heroes should not be mourned when they die in battle, for they have died with honor, and none of us can escape death. So even the demon king, Rama, sees great courage and honor in him and gives him a hero's funeral. This is Valmiki teaching Rama's sons this myth. So, now we get to the sticky part of this myth. Sita has to prove her devotion. Why does she have to prove her devotion the first time? Because she was in the company of a man, in the private company of a man, not her husband. Well, okay, but she was kidnapped. She was taken against her will. In this context, that doesn't really matter. She still has to prove that she was faithful and devoted to her husband, Rama. So the way she does this is by walking through fire. If the fire doesn't harm her, then she is clean and free from infidelity, and she'll be fine. Which she does. Of course she does. She resisted Ravana the whole time that she was there. She was there for a long time. Resisted Ravana the whole time. She comes through and she is clean and pure and devoted. And so Rama rejoices and they return to the kingdom together for Rama to become king, as he should have been in the first place. The second time... the second time is a bit different. The first time was because she was taken and she spent private time with another man. The second time was not that at all. It's up here, yeah. So, hear this. When Rama had reigned for 10,000 years, Sita became pregnant and decided to visit the hermitage. The night before the start of her journey, so she's visiting wise men in a hermitage. Rama asked his friends and advisors, "What do my subjects say about my brothers, Sita and me?" One replied, "They speak admiringly of your alliance with the monkeys and your conquest of the Rakshasas and Ravana. Surely that cannot be all they speak of. Do they not say more?" Another replied, "Since you press us, you should know that your subjects criticize you for taking Sita back after she had lived with Ravana in Lanka. They feel they must accept improper behavior from their own wives because their king has done so." Rama's heart flooded with dismay. "My heart knows that Sita is pure and she has proven her purity by fire, yet my subjects force me to renounce my devoted wife for a second time. A king cannot reign with disgrace upon his name." So, the problem here is, the first time that Sita proved her devotion and faithfulness, it was only Rama who was there. Now, some of the subjects in Rama's kingdom have their doubts. And in order to make his subjects, feel better about it, he asks her to do it again. But this time, it's different. Yeah. So, this is Rama talking. He called Valmiki to him and said, "I long to have Sita at my side again, for I have never forgotten our love. Let her prove her purity before the assembled guests once more. Then she can again share my throne and my kingdom with me." So Rama said, "Gentle, devoted, faithful Sita, let the world once again know of your virtue. I have never questioned your purity. Forgive me for banishing you in order to please my subjects." Before this second test, he had banished her from the kingdom to make his subjects feel better. "It was a shameful deed and an error, but I knew no other way to stifle the voice of rumor. Sita has had enough." And I like this part, because this changes Sita's character, right? This is not a side of Sita that we have seen this entire myth, but it's quite a bit more realistic. I like it. She says, "How many times should I have to prove my purity? I am Rama's queen and the daughter of Mother Earth and a great king. Surely it is time to put this life behind me and leave this earth. If my thoughts and deeds have been pure from the day of my birth, and I have been loyal to Dharma in my devotion and duty to my husband, I call upon you, Mother Earth, to receive your child, put an end to the pain and shame of my life, and claim me as your own. At that point, Mother Earth stretched forth her loving arms to embrace her virtuous daughter and to place her upon her own throne. Then Mother, Daughter, and throne descended into the earth, which closed above them. So, that's actually very similar to Sedna. When we get to the Inuit myth, Sedna, we'll talk. It's very similar to that. But so Sita says, "No, I've already done that. I don't care what those people think. You shouldn't care what those people think. I'm not doing it again. I've already done it once. So, peace. I'm out. I'm gonna go. I'm done. I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm leaving you. I'm gonna go sit on my own throne in the earth." So that's what she does. Okay. How are we doing on time? How'd we do? 50. Hey, I'm under an hour. Hey, I'm under an hour. What? What is that? Well, I like the Ramayana. I think it's a very interesting story. I like it. I like talking about it here in class because it introduces some things that we may not be familiar with. Some aspects, some cultural things that we're not normally exposed to. And it's just a fun story. You know, the gods have to reincarnate themselves to deal with a problem of their own making, and I just like it. It's a fun one. All right, that's it. That's all for the Ramayana. That's all I have for Ramayana. Just a quick reminder that Quiz 5 is available right now. It is only over the Ramayana and the creation, death, and rebirth of the universe, the other myth that we read here. Next week, we'll have our final quiz over China and Japan. And then the week after that is it. That's the end of the semester. We're only 2 weeks away from the end of the semester. So that final week, you have your paper or creative project and the final exam. And again, I'll tell you, the final exam is all matching. So don't fret too much about it. You will do just fine, just fine. And if we remember from the syllabus here, the quizzes amount to 450 points out of our 1,000-point total. The paper or project is 250, and the final exam is 300. So I say that to tell you that even if your grade is not where you want it to be right now, if your grade is not that great right now, if you're not happy with it, look at how many points we have left that final week. 550 points, over half of the course grade comes from that final week. So don't get discouraged. There is still plenty of time and opportunities to make up, to fix your grade, to make up those points. All right? That's it. That's all I have for you. It is currently November 24th, so I hope you enjoy Thanksgiving, whatever form of Thanksgiving that takes. We're just going to have it here with the family, with my wife and kids. We can't go see my mom, can't see my brother because of you know why. So I hope that your Thanksgiving is pleasant and peaceful and calm and low-key. And next week, let's talk about China and Japan. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.